or I'll have some upset people at me. Okay, I'm going to still admit people in as they jump on, but I'm going to go ahead and get started because I know it's Sunday evening. Everybody's coming off hopefully a great weekend, and I want to get you back to your families. But I am so excited to have so many of you join. I think we have over 50 directors and above on this call, and we have Sam that's going to kick things off for us tonight, and I'm so excited that he's agreed to come on and chat with us. I've been very lucky to work closely with Sam the last couple of months, and so I've gotten to know him a lot better, and he is just a wealth of knowledge, and he works so closely with Zaya. And so, Sam, I'm just going to turn it right over to you and kind of let you kick things off tonight. And then at the end, if we have time, I'll open it up if anyone has any quick questions or comments. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Megan, and I appreciate the opportunity of jumping on here tonight. I promise I'll keep it short. Hopefully you guys are excited as I am right now about this period of time. I mean, it's the playoff baseball is going on in the other room. We got a lot of fun stuff that's happening, but inside of Zaya, we're coming off of the biggest and most exciting month in the history of the company. Did just north of $50 million. That's something that, the company doesn't really share those numbers, but because I'm a third party, I just took a chance tonight and went ahead and shared some of those numbers. I probably shouldn't, so don't get online and talk about those things if you can. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the numbers tonight because I think they're really exciting. As many of you know, I do a lot of KPI studies. I look at the key performing indicators inside of businesses. Megan, I see Robin on here, Jamie. I work with a lot of these girls, and this is the fastest growing. I wasn't surprised at all to see 50 people on here tonight, Megan, because this is what the fastest growing and top team in the United States does. They show up. You guys are showing up. You guys are doing the work, and it's paying off huge dividends for you right now. The thing that I'm most excited about is the structure that's being created and built inside of this team right now. The Dash to Director programs, those types of things that are really paying off huge dividends. And we know one thing about our business in direct sales. The truth is, structure or volume always catches structure. And so I'm really excited about where we're at as I'm excited about where you guys are at in your business. I'm really excited about where Zaya Active is at. As Megan pointed out, I do some third-party coaching for them as well. So I work with Zach and Jeremiah and Aaron and Brenda, and I had a chance to sit down with Zach over fall break this last week. He actually postponed his trip for one day so that we could sit down and chat and talk through some of all of the things that are going on, some of the numbers. And one of the things that I want all of you to know is that when we talk about these numbers, we're talking about numbers that aren't going to, or we're talking about programs, we're talking about incentives, we're talking about all kinds of things that are not going to even happen. You guys will not see in our conversation, at least on Thursday, things that you won't see until next fall. So we're already kind of thinking way out in advance of everything that's going on right now. And the truth is, coming off the best month ever from a enrollment standpoint is so exciting because we know that we've just set ourselves up for the best Q1 that we've had so far in our business. We know that January, February, March are going to be probably 3 of the best months that we've seen in the last 6 months. And so it's really fun to see all of that. The key to all of this, the key to all of it is really kind of just showing up, right? You got to show up to calls like this. You got to show up and do the work. You've got to actually really do the reach outs and hostings. You've got to really do those things to really take advantage of this incredible time. But tomorrow, I think it was the last time I was on this call, we had the sisters from Oklahoma, the authors of Listen Sister. They were a lot of fun. Tomorrow, you guys get to have Jamie, right? Jamie James is going to be hosting the call with us tomorrow, the new rep training call, to talk a little bit about some of her structure. Because the truth is, when I talk to Jamie, when I talk to Megan, when I talk to Robin, we are literally, and these are the top of my list right here, we're talking about all of the people, all of you. We're constantly talking about your names. We're constantly breaking down where you're at in your businesses. We're talking about some of the things that you're doing, some of the things that might be struggles in areas of the team and the organizations. We're really trying to break some of those things down. So I hope that you guys will all jump on and show the support that this team is so good at showing, making sure that Jamie feels the love tomorrow, because she's going to be awesome. When I broke her structure down, it was one of the most impressive things that I've seen in a long time. I mean, she has just an incredible structure, and I think it's it shows itself up through the work that she is doing and the type of work, the behaviors and the habits that she's forming right now. But here's the deal. You guys are the example. And that's one thing that I've always said, when I talk to leaders, or oftentimes when I do a call like this, we're going to break down leadership. We're going to talk about, hey, what is it that the Megan Batings of the world do on a day-to-day basis, or the Wendy Greens, those that are really doing and sitting at the very top of their businesses and having a tremendous success? What are those things that those people do, those common denominators? And I'll tell you, you're directors, so I feel like I can talk to you like this a little bit tonight. But the truth is, it really is about those attitudes, right? What is it that we're projecting out to the world? What do people think? What do our neighbors think? What do our teams think? What do our families think about our businesses right now and about ourselves as individuals, as leaders? What kind of attitudes are we projecting out? Because the reality is, I really don't oftentimes care what Megan does, but I do care about the attitudes that she's projecting out, right? When I work with Robin, I'm not necessarily concerned about the tactics all the time, but I do want to know about how she really feels and what she's projecting out to the teams, because I know that that's one of the common denominators. People who project out those positive attitudes and those positive mindsets are those people that are really going to find ultimate success in this business. Another one of those things is being the example, right? Our teams are watching our every single move. And I don't need to add any pressure to any of you guys right now, but the rest of the world right now here at Zaya is watching this team very closely. Everything that you're all doing right now is being, it's under the magnifying glass. They want to see what you guys are doing to create the energy, the buzz, the excitement about this brand we call Zaya. And so you're under the microscope, but more important than that, right? Sometimes we can care less what they all think, but the truth is we should care, right? Because we got to project out the right types of attitudes. But we really do care a whole lot about our brand new reps, staying at the edge of our fire, being able to really dive in with those individuals that we're working with on a day-to-day basis. We need to make sure that they see the type of attitude that we are projecting out. And the type of attitude we should be projecting out is one of absolute excitement. Sure, there is probably it probably feels like to some of you, it's getting a little bit crazy, right? There's a lot of people that just joined the team. How do we stay at the edge of our fire? How do we really dive in and stay at the edge of that fire with all of these new people coming in? And the truth is, you have to continue to do the work. You have to be the example. You have to be the one that's hosting. You have to be the one that's finding those new hosts. You have to be the one that's inviting and doing the little things, doing the little work, because that's ultimately going to pay off the biggest of dividends. So, just make sure that you guys are focusing on being the example, projecting out all those right kinds of attitudes. You got to, understand the fears, doubts, and anxieties that you have, because a lot of you, especially for those of you that are on this call, you're rising up right now. There's a pretty cool thing that's happening inside of your teams. If you've qualified to be on this call, you're doing a lot of the right things. And with that comes some responsibility, and there's some burdens, it seems, right? I can guarantee you that Megan has felt a few burdens over the last couple of months with the size of this team. As we start to see it growing, she is really concerned about making sure that everybody has that equal playing field, make sure that everybody has a chance to be successful. And I know that that's a little bit stressful, but we've got to be the example, and we got to do the work. The only way to truly onboard a new rep, they got to come in and they got to do the work, right? They want to do this business. They got to learn to do this business by doing this business. And we got to do the same thing. So we just got to keep focusing on that. But, in talking to Zach, we were breaking down the past 6 months and really talking through some of the incentives and the cadence of incentives, building into the big summit event, the virtual summit event. Didn't know how that was going to work out. It really turned out to be a great little event. But just talking through all of the cadence, looking at August and then looking at September and having the incentive to enroll, right? They made a great offer. And we had these funnels that were just super full of customers and potential hostesses. And we were talking to all of those people, and they found out about this great offer. And they jumped in, they joined our teams. And now the company is saying, hey, we'll incentivize you this month with the double up bonus, but we want you to reach down and help somebody. We want you to really focus on reaching down, helping somebody come up. And I asked Zach about that. I said, Zach, well, what do you think they should be doing, right? What do you think is the the most important thing that they can do. And the truth is, like I asked him, you know, like what should Megan do, right? How does she go and take advantage of something like that? And the answer that he gave, and the answer I was hoping he would give, we also had a third-party expert as well that joined our meeting. Somebody that was kind of the go-between me and Zach. We all got in this room together. We've all had 20 plus years of experience in the channel, and we really broke down everything. And the bottom line is, it comes down to being the example and doing the work, right? You have to get out there and do the work now more than ever before. Is it going to pay the same dividend? Yeah, it actually will. Some people thought I was going to say no right there. It will absolutely pay the same dividend that it did last month. But the truth is, this is how we really kind of create that energy and that moxie going into the first Q with all of these new people who are just getting their toes dipped in, and they're seeing the beauty of this community. They're seeing the beauty of the product. They're super excited about the opportunity. We need to make sure that we're giving them every opportunity to be successful and to be a big part of what this 2021, 2022, those are the 2 years that I'm most excited about. To be honest with you, look, 2020 has been magical from a Zaya perspective, no other perspective, but from the Zaya perspective, 2020 has been absolutely incredible. And it's the big setup year is what we look at it, right? We're looking at all of those numbers. For instance, last month, I mentioned to you earlier that we did nearly or just above or right at somewhere right around $50 million in sales. And when we were breaking down those numbers, you know, one thing that we don't see a whole lot of is that volume that's coming from enrollment volume. But this last month, we found out that about $7 million of the total revenue for that month came in by way of rep enrollment. And there was about 43 million by way of party enrollment, right? Or party revenue. This month right now, we're tracking to be just under $48 million in party revenue. So we're adding another $5 million in party revenue just this month. So, you know, some people, when they dove into this month, you know, they look at their watch and they're like, oh my goodness, it's the 18th of October. Where is my business at? What am I doing, right? Those enrollments aren't seeming to come in the same way or the same velocity as they were last month. What should we do? What should we be focusing on? What should we be doing? And the bottom line is exactly what the company is incentivizing you to do. Reach down and help somebody. And the best way that you can do that is, sure, share some information, motivate and inspire them. But the best thing that you can do is actually be doing the work alongside them, right? Making sure that they get to see what it is that we do in this business, how we host, how we invite, how, you know, what kind of language we're using. Now is the time to really dive into the little things. This is the time to dot the I's and cross the T's. This is really where we are going to go back through and rerun that edit to make sure that we are doing everything that we need to be doing from a day-to-day basis. Are we setting up our weeks tonight? Did we plan for this upcoming week tonight? Did we lay everything out? And I just feel like, you know, we need to make sure that we are understanding exactly kind of where we're at in our business. Who are we going to be talking to this week? What are our hours? I talked to Megan and Robin and Jamie this last week. We talked a lot about time balance and time management. Here we are on a Sunday night, right? What does that really mean? Well, the truth is, we gotta kind of step up and step out a little bit right now. We gotta crunch together all the minutes and find the nooks and crannies of our day. This is the time to be doing it. This is the time to be spending that extra time instead of in front of the TV watching all 9 innings. Maybe just watch 7, right? And 2 of those innings, thumb around on the phone. I want you to be great parents. I want you to be great friends and sisters and all kinds of things like that. Brothers, I don't know if we have brothers on here, but if you are, then I want you to be a great brother too. But the truth is, this is probably one of the most exciting times that I've had in this business because I know what's coming. I know what that first quarter looks like. And you can either decide tonight that you're going to make that plan and that you're going to execute that plan, or you can watch it happen. Either way, the volume that we looked at just this last week on Thursday is projecting out an additional $5 million of revenue for the company-wide in just party revenue alone. Another $5 million growth month, right? That's not something that's going to happen every single month. That's incredible growth. I've never been involved in a company that has experienced this velocity of growth for this period of time. And it's really, well, actually, I have been involved in a couple of companies like that, but it's really exciting. It's not a normal thing, right? It's something where you're really doing something quite incredible. So the company is working on a number of data pieces, right? They want to be able to share with you all, hey, we can validate now that we are, in fact, the fastest growing prestige activewear brand in the United States. Wouldn't you love to be able to say that when you're inviting people to come check out your new line? Well, we can't say that stuff right now, but we're working on it. We're working on validating that data that we know is true, but we're not going to say it until somebody validates it. But now is the time to be vigilant with the policies and procedures. Now is the time to make sure that you are doing everything above board in terms of being compliant in your business. Now is the time to make sure that you're building up that huge, that we pushed the reset button in some ways. In September was really a great reset push for the company and for your businesses, because again, we offered that incredible incentive enrollment. We're not going to be doing that, but maybe once every 18 months or so. That's not something that comes around quite often. So we get a chance to kind of clean out our funnels and then refill those funnels. This is really that big, the beginning of that big second wave that always happens in these types of brands. Anytime you have a company in the channel of direct sales that proves its community, that proves its product, and proves the type of people who are behind it, like Aaron Bradley, this is when that big second wave is coming. And so, to be honest with you, I'm really excited about where things are going right now. Megan, I do want to make sure that we get some questions answered at some point. And I want to answer anything. It's kind of an open book tonight. Again, I'm not the company. I represent the company, but I am a third party, so I can say things that maybe they won't always say. So I do want to make sure that that's out there, and you guys can ask really whatever you want through Megan. Of course, I can't really read through all the chat right now, but so with that being said, like I said, I believe that Q1 will look back and we'll say, we can always go and look at September, or excuse me, when we look at September, we can go back and we can see what happened in April. And we predicted exactly within about $1 million, by the way, of revenue of where it was going to be in September. And we can go ahead and we can look in February and March, and we know exactly kind of where we're going to be in February and March. And I'll tell you right now, it's going to be in a really good place. The business is going to be nearly doubled by that time. And you can participate in that. You can watch it happen. And if you participate in it, I think that what you'll say is, boy, I'll tell you what, those 90 days that I made the commitment on October the 18th to go 90 days really hard of doing all of the little things, doing the little work, the stuff that we're always talking about. When Megan and Jamie and Rob, when they get on, they're telling you all this stuff to do, right? They're talking. But on the back end, they're doing the work, right? I get to see the do. That's all we talk about is what they do. I don't want to hear about any of the talking stuff from them. I want to see what they're doing. And that's what really allows for leaders to show up and to stand out. When I work with somebody, and oftentimes I do, there's a lot of talk and very little do. Not the case here. There's a lot of do and a little talk. So what I want you guys to be focused on, if I could say anything, it would be, hey, let's take care of all the little things and let's do the work so that we can really participate in what I believe, based on 24 years of being involved in this channel, my experience, my close immediate contact with the home office, is that this is just the start of something really, really, really great. And I am just trying to stand on mountaintops to tell you, pay attention and let's get after it, because it's going to be a really good time. So I didn't have like I kind of went through a lot of the numbers the last time we had, I can go through anything you want me to, Megan. But.
No, I think that was perfect. I wanted you to just kind of give an overview of kind of where you thought the company was and kind of exactly what you did. I do want to open it up for questions. And then I have a question quick, so I'll start. We have several on our team that are in areas where, example, Carroll, Iowa has a lot of reps, lots and lots. I don't even know how many now. And so we have some reps that's a really good thing. There's, walking billboards every day, walking, showing off our business for us. But in your opinion, how do you compare that to an area where there are no reps or people have not heard of Zaya. I mean, I guess what are the benefits of in an area where there's, you know, people think it's saturated, it's really not. Can you kind of talk through
Oh,
that?
yeah. So that's another piece of the data. I'm glad you brought that up because I failed to mention that. I was talking a little bit about some of the data sources that we are working with right now. So for instance, let me maybe explain it this way. In my last company, there was a big demographic that we studied very closely. It was a demographic that we called, or that many of the data services called, the Cabernet and Kids category, which a lot of you, just so you know, would fit into, by the way. And the Cabernet and Kids, there's a lot of criteria. I think you can Google it and figure out exactly what the criteria is. But the Cabernet and Kids category or demographic is one that's really good with Amazon Prime. It's really good with Nordstrom. It's really good with Apple. Those are the types of customers that are really driving a big part of our economy right now. And so Cabernet and Kids was an area that we really looked at in a past organization that I was part of. Here at Zaya, we're not actually going after that specific demographic. It's a little bit more equal. It's a little bit more broad. The price points and everything, right? It's not an apples to apples comparison. But when we look at data, we basically go in and want to say, okay, how many people are actually buying prestige activewear in this zip code? Well, there is data out there available that we are purchasing right now to let us know those things. And I will just tell you right now, you know, in the state of Utah, for instance, we were just doing some fun little things about the state of Utah. On Thursday, we were actually discussing this saturation topic, right? In the state of Utah, where Zaya it's really big, right? It's like the third largest state, I think, and Iowa's number 1. Texas is 2. Utah is number 3. And we were looking at it. We went into some local gyms just for a kind of a little test. And about 1 in 100 were wearing a Zaya outfit or some article of clothing that was from Zaya. That was in gyms, right? And the truth is, I mean, nobody knows about Zaya. Zach Bradley was asked to go golfing the other day with the chief sales officer for one of the largest well-known companies in the channel of direct sales. And he had just been kind of hearing rumblings about this thing called Zaya, didn't even really know how to say it. But he took him out golfing just to ask him, like, what is this thing, right? What are you guys doing? It's crazy. I'm hearing some stuff and some numbers. Is this stuff true? Because it's a very incestuous business here in the state of Utah. There's a lot of direct sales companies. And so, you know, you get customer service reps or people like Lane Argyle that are running distribution from different companies. They have lots of friends. They're talking. So they're starting to share numbers. And this guy had never even heard of Zaya. His headquarters of a billion-dollar brand is about 10-minute walk from Zaya's headquarters, and never had he before heard of Zaya Active. He knows of the Bradley family, right? They have a history in the channel, but he'd never heard of it before. And so from a saturation standpoint in the state of Utah, we feel like there's a huge, huge opportunity for the company to still grow. Here in the United States, I think that run is still several years away, like 7 to 8 years away, right? Where you're starting to feel like, hey, we actually have a market share that we can talk about. Right now, we can talk about things like fastest growing. We could say those types of things, but we can't say we're number 1, not even close, not yet, not in revenue. We've still got a ways to go, but those are our goals that are ahead of us. And we've got several years to go and continue to do what we're doing right now with great people like Megan leading the charge and finding those opportunities out there, finding those people that want to share this brand with us. So from a saturation standpoint, it's not even actually part of any kind of conversation in the home office because it's so far from being a reality that, I mean, it's probably not going to be a conversation for at least 5 years, not in this country.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to open it up. I don't know, Robin, you might, or Jamie, you might have a couple of things that you were thinking too. So if you guys want to unmute and ask, and then if anybody else has.
I see one that just popped up and it said international expansion. Let me address that really quick.
Oh, okay, sure.
International expansion, is it talked about? All the time. So the same data points that we are looking at here in the United States, for instance, and in Canada, because we have a stake, obviously, in the United States and Canada. We're looking at those same data points, those same buyers in places like Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, the UK, those are some areas that we're really focusing in and looking at. Who is buying prestige activewear? One of the things that I was talking to Zach about, and we've had a past history in Europe. We did a lot of business in Europe, specifically in Italy and Spain. And they're not markets right now where prestige activewear is on the scene. I don't know if they're behind us or ahead of us. We think they're behind us, but that's not a place that we're really spending a whole lot of time into. What I would say to you all is, if you're interested in international expansion, just start doing a little bit of research. I wouldn't spend too much time doing it. I'd be spending time inviting and hosting, but I would do a little research and find out where activewear business is being done, right? You can Google and find out market share of Lulu and Athleta and other prestige activewear brands, and where they're doing that business at, right? Those are some fun little things that you can do when you're just kind of going crazy with your business and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Spend a little bit of time taking a peek there.
Okay. Let's see.
Let me see. I can pop up this. I'll just pop up
Yeah.
the chat. International expansion. Is there somewhere you can look to find out how many reps are in the area? They used to have that heat map. I don't know that they still produce that. It's not updated. They used to have a heat map that would tell you how many reps are in your area. They don't currently have a heat map. I don't know that, I think that there is some value in the heat map for sure. That's a good point. I'll actually write it down and we'll talk about that this week, but I don't believe that there is a current area. I don't know, Megan, maybe you guys can tell me different.
They updated a map of states, how many reps in each state, but not specific to zip code or county or anything further.
Okay, and the training on the back office, let me just address that really quick. Number one, I think you guys should invite Quinn Edwards to come and do a training on this team call at some point in the next, 30 days or something. He would be awesome. So Quinn's a guy that, he came over from SoftServe, one of the most well-respected software, people in the United States. I mean, he's really, really well-respected, and Quinn ran into Jeremiah out on a bike ride, and that's how it ended up being that he came over from that company. But Quinn would be somebody that would be really fun to talk to because you can get a lot of good info out of him. He's easy to crack. And so get him on here and ask him some tough questions. But he knows the business inside and out. And he also knows what leaders look to from a KPI standpoint so that they can understand their businesses. Right now, as many of you know, we look at per rep values. We look at total parties hosted. We look at senior rep plus ratios. And then we look at the party efficiency ratings. Those are the four major drivers of the KPIs in our businesses. And so what I will say to Sherry is that reach out to your upline. They know how to look at this back office. They know how to find those numbers. It's really simple and easy math, and it's apples to apples, allowing for you to compare against other reps inside of the business. The only time we'll really ask you to compare against other reps inside the business is when you look at those four things.
Perfect. Anyone else have any questions?
I have a quick question.
I covered on the board,
Yeah.
so Chelsea.
All right. I was going to type it. I didn't really know how to type it. So I joined a week after Megan did. And I remember like last year going through the year, we were kind of warned about how hard December was going to be for us to host parties, sales, all that kind of fun stuff. So what's your best advice as we are getting closer to the holidays for us to handle those times?
That's a really, really good question. Direct sales has, as a whole, has not done a good job in this area. I've felt like we've done a really poor job in a period of time where some of the biggest brands in the world, brands that are currently filing bankruptcy and things like that. We all know, I don't want to say all those names, but the same stores that are kind of all next to each other in the malls across America. They are extending hours. They are running all kinds of different specials, free shipping, things of that nature. They are also doing some things in terms of like bundled offers. One thing that I would look for here from Zaya that I can kind of tell you guys to be excited about is that there could be some bundled offers. whether that comes from leadership or from the company itself. I wouldn't wait around for them. I would fill my funnel with a whole lot of people who are interested in the product, and I would be inviting those individuals and getting them buying something, because I think that they'll find massive value in these bundles. But yes, the company is addressing the holiday shopping season, right? Everybody is ready to spend and buy and gift. We should be a part of that. We should be doing a better job of being a part of that whole thing. So many of these companies, if you go and do the research on some of these big name brands, they do about 60% of their revenue in 40 days for the entire year. Now, I'm not saying we should do that, because we are a little bit different, but we should be participating in something. We should definitely be taking advantage of some of those areas. And by the way, that was our Thursday conversation. That was the majority of that conversation on Thursday with, as I said, another third-party expert that will really help us out a lot.
Awesome.
So be excited. I would be really excited about right now, because I think the company is thinking the same way you are, Chelsea. I think that the company is thinking about a lot of the same things you guys are. It's not as easy as black and white, right? To turn it over and do it. It's really, really hard to do those things when you're having the type of success that this company has had. Growth is without a doubt the biggest problem the company is facing. And, you know, but the tables are turning a lot. You know, there used to be a time where, you know, working with banks and all the financial end of things was really difficult. Now it's, you know, the tables have turned. We get to call the shots now, right? At Zaya. So there's a lot of really cool things that are in place as a result of that.
Awesome. Anyone? Let's see. Any talk about spend certain amount free shipping from company to compete with those big names? Free shipping or?
Yeah, Liz, another great question. Something we should be talking about, right? I mean, I don't know what the reality is of that right now, but I definitely think it's a conversation that should be being had. And you know, there are some things that can be done. I mean, we all know the way that the big brands do it from a free shipping is it's on the back end anyway. So it's being paid for one way or the other. And so it's just the way it's communicated. And I can't see Liz, so I don't know if you're there, wave your hand so I can at least talk to you. But maybe she's on another page. But yeah, it's something that we definitely talk about all the time. There are many discussions being had right now. I think that from a priority standpoint, they want to make sure that the operational softwares, warehousing softwares, back office softwares are in place before they can get to that as a priority. They want to make sure that your businesses are sound before they dive into something like that, because we know what it would do for our business. We know that it would, you know, quadruple in size probably in a very short period of time. And are we ready for that, right? So we've got to manage this growth as well. Especially over the next 24 months, it's going to be really, really critical that you be patient with and allow for the company to manage the growth, because we don't want to go too fast. We don't want this, you know, to pop. We want it to just continue to slowly expand and make sure that we are building some good structure around it.
So with that being said, the question Sue commented, if you read Sue's there, Sam, about
oh yeah,
the growth.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's not, I mean, it was a great month. It was a really good month. We're super thrilled with it, but absolutely. So the company is not going to run an incentive that they don't feel like they can manage, right? From the standpoint of total number of new reps that have now joined our teams, all the way down to, you know, a great thing that you said in here, the federal regulations, right? Making sure that we are doing our part on our end to be within compliance, so that our names aren't popping up on somebody's list, right? So that the FTC or TINA or any of these other bodies that like to police things like this we just got to do a good job of making sure that everything that we do is sound. But yeah, the company can absolutely manage the inventory. I got to walk through the plant, the facility, I guess. I don't know if it's a plant. It kind of looks like a plant when you're there. It's super huge. And Megan and some of you are going to get a chance to be there and see it in December, first week of December. So yeah, absolutely the inventory is there and we can definitely manage that. The shipping is absolutely no problem. Our business will continue to thrive even through, as we have witnessed this pandemic. We are definitely set up to continue to be able to support that for sure.
Hey, Sam.
Yes.
It's Robin.
Robin.
So what do I tell my girls that
headband on?
Yes, it's not a pretty day. What do I tell my girls who are in other states and they're like working their tail off and they're leading a team and they're like, okay, when is this going to take off though? They're looking to me like, you know, because it has taken off where I'm at. And they're I keep instilling in them like, it'll come. But how do we keep them, you know?
They are the only ones that can control that. That's the hard part about this is it's up to them. It'll show up when they do, right? And so, I mean, it's not that they're not working hard. It's not that they're not showing up, but they've just got to keep showing up. The consistency is going to be the key here, right? Because there's going to be others who start showing up with them. And when that happens, then we won't be having this conversation. They control that. We don't. We're not going to do anything that's traditional by way of marketing into those states or those areas. We're going to leave it up to them, the same way we did to the Iowans, right? The same way we did to folks in Texas and California. When they showed up and a few other people decided to show up with them, it happened. And that's exactly what we're going to do in other states that might be, I don't know if you'd say, I'd say smaller. They're just smaller. They're not weaker. They're just smaller in numbers. And when they take off, they'll take off in a really positive way. But I think that's the beauty of it too, Rob. And I want to point out one thing. I think the beauty of it is that they do get to control that culture, right? The culture of their state, their area. They have a chance to be a huge influence on what that will look like in 2-3 months, 2-3 years from now. What an exciting time to be. I mean, I would love to be in a state that didn't have very many reps. Right.
That's what I always say. I'm like, talk to them in a business mind sense and, you know, find those business partners. Say, hey, this is happening here and it's going to happen here.
You know, this is maybe a good example, Robin. I got so I have some clients from Canada as well, just recent clients. I hadn't worked with clients here within the Zaya situation. I have a lot of clients from other brands that have been around for a while. But this client I was talking to, and we were going through these same numbers, right? Total party counts, the party efficiency ratings. We were going through all the same numbers, those same drivers. Well, what I found out is the drivers in Canada are a little bit different than they are here in the United States. It's a very business-focused scenario there. They are bringing on business partners and not necessarily having the same influence on or value. They're not placing the same value on the parties hosted. It's really about getting people into those one-on-one situations and getting them involved in the business opportunity, because there is still such a huge opportunity to be had. And what I'm trying to transition them to is, hey, we need to really set up that party structure right now. That's the most important thing you can be doing. But yeah, I think it's similar to, you know, if you're in a state that's kind of newer, you know, the opportunity is a big thing, and it should be, you know, because it exists. But I will say this, it still exists in places like Iowa and Utah and Texas as well. Brooke, I will repeat those. The drivers in our business, the things that you should reach out your upline and find out how you do the math on. Number one, the per rep value that you currently have, right? That's the total number of reps divided by a bunch of different scenarios, but your uplines can teach you those things. That's the per rep value. It's the senior rep plus ratio, looking at the total number of people on your team who have achieved senior rep status or above, divided by the total number of L1s on your team. It's a very simple number. It's a number that will be really low and out of whack, maybe even really high when you're early in your business. It's a number that I keep very close tabs on with Megan, Robin, and Jamie. And it will be a number we keep tabs on as your team continues to grow. It's a great way of looking at how is the onboarding working inside of the team. Do you have programs that support the onboarding training? Things like Dash to Director, right? And how well are they doing? And that's a really good idea. Tomorrow you're going to hear from Jamie, who has 14 current directors on her front line. That's a pretty amazing number for anybody. So anyhow, so I would pay attention to tomorrow a little bit. But the other two are total number of parties hosted, right? It's a real quick downline. You run the downline report. Top right corner, once everything loads, you go to the top right corner, click on the little piece of paper with an X, export it into a Excel file, and then there's all these columns at the top. Scroll all the way over to PRTY, CNT, party count, highlight that, sum total of that, and it's going to give you an idea of how many parties you are hosting in that month, right? It'll give you September. You're going to want to also look at August, July, June, May. Really go back and look at those numbers. And basically, so that's the party count. We want to see two things that we see very, very regularly with our leaders is that we see 120 days or 4 months of party count on the uptick, right? We see a trajectory that's positive over a 120-day period of time. And we also are able to see that the party efficiency rates are staying solid. What that means is you're going to take that total number of parties and you're going to divide it into the total number of team group volume. Now, I will tell you, September is not a great month to do that calculation because we had a huge number of enrollments, right? It's not going to give you exactly a perfect number. But in the other months that I talked about, May, June, July, August, those are great months to go back and look at how many parties did I host and what was I producing per party hosted. We want to see that number a little bit over 600, right? That's a healthy business. We want to see, I don't care what the number of parties are, how many parties you're hosting over a 4-month period of time. The only thing I want to see is that if you did 100 in June, I want to see 120, in July, and 150 in August, and 200 in September, right? We want to see that trajectory really starting to build, and not just me adding 10 parties every month, but my team duplicating and adding those parties. We want to see those chunks start to happen over the period of time. And that really showcases the health of your business right now. So again, I would reach upline, Dana. Oh no, not Dana, Brooke. And they can definitely teach you how to do that. Let's see, what did I miss? Let's see.
Yeah, Dana asked if if they had a group party, if it would count as one. It would count as 4 because you have 4 separate events set up for that group.
Yeah, so and the back office actually calculates all that for you. So it's in there and it's accurate. So again, I would definitely get Quinn lined up for one of these calls, guys. I think he'd be a lot of fun. He's quirky and he's a software guy and he knows a lot of stuff, but he also worked in a high level in the sales side of things in this channel. He was the region director at the same time Jeremiah and I and Zach were working in a company together. He happened to be over Russia, Israel, Ukraine, Turkey, all those markets. So, but he has a really good understanding of leadership. So he can talk to you guys and have a pretty normal conversation.
Yeah, we'll have to get that lined up for sure.
Yeah, let me know if I can help you.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, before we let Sam get back to his family, anyone have, or his baseball, I should say. Anybody have any other questions for him or comments? Feel free to unmute. Ask away, don't be shy, now's the time. Anybody?
I've got one.
Sure.
The note. I'm just curious, have we ever talked about down the road getting rid of the restocking fee and hopefully free shipping back for returns and exchanges?
Yeah, so I have been working with Zaya since March of 2019, right? Doing like every month I've been helping them create incentives or building out some type of an onboarding program, the Success in 60 program, the Victory to 60, different programs. I've kind of helped the company along with leadership organizations create and build platforms. One of the things that I'm currently being tasked with are to look at all of those things that you just talked about. And we're looking at, hey, what are other companies doing? We want to surprise and delight our teams every single month with something new and better than what it was, right? Every single month they're committed for the foreseeable future. So I don't just mean but like the next like 2 or 3 months. I'm talking the next 15, 20 months. We're looking to find something that we can change, make better, enhance for our reps. So all those things that you just talked about will definitely are definitely on the list. Those are brought up quite regularly, especially in the executive meetings with you have double eyes in there tooting their horns, and they can be loud and strong.
Awesome. Anyone else got anything? Anyone? All right. Well, thank you, Sam, so much. I every time I get to chat with you or talk to you, I feel like my cup just gets fuller and fuller because I get excited and so many nuggets. So thank you. And thank you everyone for joining. I did record this, so I will get it out to you guys for anyone that missed. And everyone have a great evening.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. Good night.
Thanks. All right. We'll see y'all later.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks.
Tira.